Hey, I'll tell you what. I'm not late, but I thought I was going to be because I was listening to Christina Aguilera's Spanish song, Santo. I think it's called Santo. She said, Santo, sálvame, que tú me tienes esperando, ven, rúbame de mí, que yo te digo hasta cuando. Hey, Locomai. Everyone pray for Locomai. She's numbed up at the dentist right now. Hey, Siren. Hey, Angie. Beverly. Samira, I do have a cough drop and I apologize about that. Carla, hey. Melody, hello. I know, Megan. I know you're on. Christy. Hey, Christy. Prospective reverence. You're the opposite. You told Robbie that if this degenerate is into a CW argument, he better be dressed real slutty because you totally turn up. Okay. I am dressed like a whore tonight. Okay now. Thank you so much. Hello, Jeannie, Lavina, Emerald, Kimmy. Emerald, isn't that fun? Isn't that cool? I miss you too, Christy. I hope you're doing good and happy anniversary and happy birthday to my good friend Amber. She is doing a birthday live stream tonight at 10 p.m. my time on her channel. So in 3 hours. Hello, Birdly Lauren and Boo Boo Kitty. All right, guys. Hello, Tia. So last night, I was talking about this live stream that we're going to do right now, and it on a good friends panel, and it turned out bad, but we made up and we love each other very much. So if you guys saw that, I don't know if you did or not, but let's gather around and let's talk some controversial Chris Watts shit, huh? We're going to talk today about what you consider victim bashing, okay? Not just the Chris Watts case, but it was brought up, and I'll tell you why. So gather around. No chance. No dance. No chance. No dance. No chance. Give me second chances. That's so cool! I won! Yay! Ow! Ow! How did you guys hear me? Did you hear me at all? Did you hear me at all? Nobody told me I was muted. Or was I muted? Or did it just mute? Did you guys hear me? It said the mute button was just turned on, but maybe when I hit my intro, it turned on. You guys heard me, right? Hey, Larry. How you doing, buddy? Hey, Emu. Okay, good. Because I looked down once I hit my intro, and I'm like, why is it? What? Nikki, I hope you're feeling better, Nicole, and I love you. Nicole's got a little bug. Okay, I was not muted. Okay, thank God. All right. So the reason that I brought this topic up is because I actually did a poll yesterday on this. Hello, Crystal, I love you. So let's go ahead and look at this poll real fast. Here we go. Yep. Nicole Dunn got the beer bug is what they're calling it. Okay. So this, my poll says, do you consider it victim bashing if someone observes and critiques the behavior of a murder victim while they were living? Please be respectful in the comments. 10-4 out. 10-4-2-5-7 out. Okay. Now, 22% of you. Now, I think this had, let's see, how many people voted on this? 314 votes within 23 hours. So that's good enough to kind of get an idea if you don't notice already. So it says, yes, never talk about the character of a murder victim. And 22% of you thought that. 69% of you said, no, it's okay to look at all things that led up to a crime, which I'm one that would vote that as well. And then 8% of you had differing opinions that you put in the comments. So with that being said, and mind you guys, StreamYard's been weird lately and booting me off. So if that does happen, I'll be back on my phone. Okay. So I want to take an opportunity to apologize about any technical difficulties now. Whoa. Okay now? Okay. Your poll says many things. Does it? Which poll are you talking about, Siren? Wow. Did your poll get grinded? Always. It always does. Welcome, Stardust streamers. So I brought this up, you guys. Thank you, Jane Ivy. I brought this up because there was a channel, Dorothy Surviving the Storms, was playing a conversation that Granny's Watching had with Sincerely Emily. I don't know when this conversation took place, but they were talking about the Watts case. Now, if you don't know about the Watts case, it's a story of a man who murdered his family and disposed of their bodies now, okay? Shanann Watts, who was pregnant with Nico, and Bella and Cece, the children, all disposed in an oil-filled, okay, just to catch you up on the speed. If you don't know by now, then you really need to get your shit together in the true crime community. Okay? Hey, True Busy Mama. So, basically, there's so many different opinions on this case. So we're not having, hey, Backroad Freedom, we're not having this conversation to say, you're right, you're wrong, this is who's guilty, this is who's not, this is who's involved and who's not, because we ended up having that conversation last night on a panel, and I got pissed off. And let me tell you why I got pissed off, and I'm not still mad about it. But listen, when you're looking at a true crime case, whether it be the Watts case, whether it be any case out there, you're going to want to look into everything. Love you, Ashley. And that's what I want to do, is look into everything. I want to look up the relationships and how people got into those situations and those relationships. So Granny was being basically dragged, Granny's Watching, by Dorothy Surviving the Storms, because they were critiquing the life of the characters in this true crime case, okay? And, you know, even though there's people that are passed away, not here to speak for themselves and stuff, people are allowed to speculate, and you can't tell people, in my personal opinion, that they're a victim basher because they are looking and analyzing behaviors. That's what we do, right? People do it to my channel all the time. They analyze my behavior in my good moments and in my bad moments and whatever. So if I were to pass away, would everybody remove those videos and take it back and say I was a saint and an angel just because, you know, I mean, I'm sure maybe they would be a little bit more respectful, but maybe they wouldn't. Who knows? Okay. And I'm not saying it's okay to bash victims. We are not here to do that. We're not here to be disrespectful about anything at all. So thank you, Carrie. With that being said, I've always had an unpopular opinion specifically on this case, and I'm not even 100% thinking I'm right. I just go with my intuition and what I see. With this case, the Chris Watts case, we have tons of videos that we can look back on that are like live streams Shanann used to film and go live, and we're able to see and look into their life and how they interacted with each other, and we can make up our own decisions and opinions based on what we see. Okay, like, oh, well, that was a little controlling, or maybe, oh, well, you see the way that they interact with each other. So I've heard so many people say that someone's victim bashing because maybe they have said things about Shanann. Maybe they didn't like her attitude, you know, and people call Chris a narcissist. They call Shanann a narcissist. They call MK a narcissist. They call the parents narcissists. They call them names, or they'll say, no, this family's hurting more than this one, and whatever. But at the same time, everybody should be allowed to their opinion as long as they're respectfully delivering it, and you can't really block them or shut them out. And so many people want people to shut up and say, so-and-so's grieving over here, these people need to move on and stuff, so stop talking about it. But when you're interested in true crime, you're interested in justice mostly, right? Justice is a big part of true crime. All right, seeking truth, seeking what happened. Yes, I believe in the police, and I support the police and law enforcement to do their jobs. But my mind also speculates, and that is the whole fun and mystery in true crime. Okay. Oh, it's okay, Ashley. I love you. Don't worry about it. Okay. Don't you worry about a thing. Everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be okay. Okay. Amanda C. The word narcissist is thrown around freely in the true crime and just in general in the world. So let's talk about and kind of look at Shanann's videos, right? We're not going to play any of them, but looking at that, how they interacted and stuff. First of all, nobody deserves to be murdered. Okay. But you can see an interaction. And so when you look at that and you kind of look and you're like, oh, their relationship was kind of like this. Maybe she was more in control. He was pretty meek and quiet and calm and all, all of that nonsense. And that tends to happen in cases. But here's where the issue comes in. I think a lot of people, well, I know a lot of people because I've had so many conversations about this topic or many different cases and stuff. But there's so many people that they do want to look at the behavior, or they relate their personal issues into the case. They'll be like, well, I'm a survivor of, whether you're a survivor of domestic violence, whatever it is. So it becomes more personal. A lot of people take it personal because they're mothers or fathers. So you automatically want to side with someone who's a mother or a father because you can relate in some sort of sense. Now, I'm going to be a little bit controversial here and say that I've actually, like, looking at the interaction of the marriage in this case, I can say, and people are like, you're a Chris Watts sympathizer. I was a Chris in relationships before. And, I had alphas, kind of bossing me around, telling me what to do, stuff like that. It wasn't terrible, but I felt trapped. Okay. That's no reason to want to try to kill somebody, by the way. So I can relate in that sense. And I can also relate being cheated on and cheating on people. I cheated before multiple times with multiple people. Now, was that okay for me to do? No. Did it feel good? Oh yeah. It was hot. But it wasn't okay for me to do. You're a shenan, and that's fine. See, everybody relates in a different way. So that brings me to, if you relate in a certain way, you kind of become biased a little bit because you're relating more with one person. Hey, LFT. Lots of work. Yeah, I know. So in this case, I'm going to get a little controversial here, but I want to prove a point here. I want to prove what I'm trying to say. A lot of people, we don't know what happened in this specific case. I don't think we're ever going to know the truth of what happened, but I often hear, because there's people that believe the first confession, there's people that believe this should be done and Chris is in jail and we shouldn't look into it any further. But if you're somebody for justice, which everybody should be for justice, even if you think it's already been served, you speculate and you're like, well, I don't think justice is completely served yet. And you continue to have conversations about it. Right. So a lot of people have said, if the first confession was true, she's a mother, she wouldn't do that, and so Chris disposed of the bodies. He deserves to be in prison forever. Right. But the same thing can be said, like, he's a father. People tend to look at the home videos and say, well, you could tell she loved them. I also, in my personal opinion, from observation, and this is where people are like, oh my God, you're sympathizing with the murderer and stuff. I saw that he was a good father too. So it's unbelievable on either side. It's just an unbelievable situation. And that's what keeps us intrigued by it. Emerald says there's victim bashing and then there's victim blaming. I think people tend to blend the two together. Hey, Sassy Pinky. Well, okay, let me ask you guys, what do you consider victim bashing? I want to see some of your answers on that because I did see in the poll comments, but what would you consider victim bashing? Ashley was told she was going to be thrown in an oil tank by her ex who showed you this case. Sweet shit. It is sad and unfathomable. Let me tell you what my version of like victim bashing is if you're saying someone deserved it or they asked for it, or you're just completely trashing somebody disrespectfully. But if you're observing behaviors, interactions, some people can't do that because it's hard to do. And you feel like you're judging a murder victim or something, but it's important to look at how things built up. You can't just sit there and say, don't talk about that person, they're dead. And I'm not saying Shanann robbed a bank or anything, but I often I often give this scenario. If somebody was like robbing a bank, or, you know, somebody thought they were going to rob the bank and they pulled a gun out, but really they were thinking somebody was going to shoot them and they ended up getting shot and killed, right? Hey, making lemonade. Well, it's kind of the same thing. Is if that person gets killed, you don't really know what happened. Let's say it's back in the day and you didn't have cameras. So if people are talking about that person and they're like, don't assume that they were robbing the bank. They're dead. They're not here to defend themselves, you know? So, I mean, it's important to look at how situations built up. Cutthroat, her mom too. You all have bitch. We all have a little bitch in us. Some of the comments made about Shanann Watts and the girls were uncalled for. I definitely agree with that. She deserved it because is victim bashing. Okay. Lavina says, I could have had sympathy for Chris had he divorced his wife and needed to fight for custody. Any sympathy for him evaporated when he killed his children and threw them away. Can't get past that. That's fair enough. Riley says, although I'm a Shanann Watts, I do keep an open mind and actually lean towards the unpopular opinion when it comes to who did what. She brought it on herself. Yeah, things like that. She was a bitch. Yeah, I mean, because saying she was a bitch, even if she was one, is like, you know, it's kind of a harsher word. You could be like, well, she acted. But you could just word it differently. You could still say it because you're observing a behavior, right? If you say it's the rape victim's fault for wearing a slutty dress, well, yeah, and yes, Betty, I appreciate you saying that. I try to keep it respectful because the last night we kind of ended, and I ended up leaving a panel because my opinion was being, and I'm not angry about it, but my opinion was being like disregarded and shut up. Like I'm not allowed to have one and I should shut up. And people often say this. They say, stop talking about this case. Stop talking about it. It's done. It's over. You don't need to talk about it. Well, that's your opinion because you believe it's over and done. Some people don't. Some people don't believe that. And if they want to look into it, they're simply not convinced. It's a lot like religion and politics, because if you're not convinced of something, then you're simply not convinced. You should not be shamed for that. As much as Shanann was the alpha, she was also being made a fool of behind her back. Yes, she was. I agree with that as well. Gigi says, I'm a big Shanann Watts supporter, but she wasn't perfect. But who is? She may have been controlling and wanted things her way, but that doesn't warrant for the things that have been said about her and her kids. That's fair enough. It's okay to say that there was obvious problems, Lavina is saying, in the marriage, and there was fault on both sides. She gave him so many chances to say that he wanted out, and he was a coward. Absolutely. You know, he was a cheater, and he definitely went about it in the complete wrong way. I'm not convinced either, Ashley. Angel says, if she wasn't such a presence on Facebook, we would never see their life leading up to the murders. I agree. Chris did look like a loving father, and Shanann had a strong personality, but not a bad trait. So I want to say this, and again, I don't want to get into a conversation, really. You're welcome to say what you think and what you think happened or whatever, that's fine. But I'm not doing this live stream to dive into like what's wrong, what's right, and stuff like that. This topic is more along the lines of it's okay if you don't believe something, and it's okay to welcome other opinions respectfully, even if people are like saying the first confession is true. You know, people will sit there and say, oh my God, how could you think that? You're so stupid. You're so this, you're so that. And like people trash you, or people that say NK was involved, which I don't believe. And that's fine if you do. And people get so angry about it. And again, it comes with their personal experiences that they're intertwining with this case. Thank you for saying that. Yes. And thank you for being respectful, you guys. So let's say that the first confession was true. And if you don't know what the first confession is, it's Chris saying that she killed the girls and then he covered it up and killed her and all of that nonsense, right? There's been speculation, and this conversation was brought up last night, that people are like, actually somebody on this panel last night told me because I'm not convinced of certain things yet. And she told me, well, you don't need to do it publicly. You need to respect her family, and you don't have to do it publicly. You don't have to do it publicly, but you can, because as long as you're being respectful, you can definitely voice your opinion. And it's important, because what frustrates me is when people, they're like, no, shut up, stop talking about it. And the thing is, with me, I love having conversations. I don't talk about this case anymore, even in chats or on here. I talk a lot about it offline with friends and people on the phone and through emails and stuff. But it's important that it's okay to talk about stuff. Look, if you're clout chasing, don't even get me started on, people taking advantage of other popular cases right now. I'm still hooked on this one. I truly am, and it's not the popular thing anymore, and I don't care about that because I enjoy talking about it. It's a mystery to me. Jamie, I was going to, and I might, but for you, yes, because I just didn't want to open it for everybody, because I don't want it to go a certain direction, because I want to stay on topic as far as everyone being able to accept each other's opinions without calling people stupid and stuff like that. Ashley says, if that were the case, he wouldn't have disposed of his babies. He would have called for help. That's how I see it. Yeah, and I can see how you see it that way. A lot of people, and again, this is going to be controversial, but people are like, oh my God, because I'll tell people this, what I'm about to tell you, and they'll be like, how could you think that? How dare you? And I'm just saying, if it were the scenario, if it was the way he said, and she killed the kids and then he killed her and disposed of everybody, people's like, you wouldn't do that. You would call the police and stuff. And I try to put myself in every situation. So if I'm putting myself in that situation, I would imagine being shocked and angry and basically thinking, holy shit, dude, I'm going to jail either way. So, and I know it's hard to think, and I'm not a father, but what if somebody just freaks out and they're like, well, I'm screwed either way because this happened and I didn't even start the issue. So then you cover it up. Oh, okay. Jamie making lemonade. Okay. Hey, sweet Lulu. Emerald Kitty said, I'll say this much. I don't believe the mistress had anything to do with the murders, but I also understand that others do believe that, and they have their reasons. I love that. And that's see, that is perfect. Like, I love talking about religion and politics, and you can quickly realize, like last night, I don't think the topic should have been brought up on the panel that I was on, because it wasn't fit for that. And it was a place where normally those conversations don't take place. And it was a place where the conversation never should have taken place, because there were emotions involved with people's personal experiences, and they were very cut off to any other opinions. I'll just leave it at that. Love you too, Mary. Riley says, but put yourself in that person's shoes, you would straight up disassociate. Yeah, I try putting myself in even NK's shoes, and everybody's. And it's hard for people to do that and like humanize people when they see them as monsters. But I think it's important to humanize everybody. That way you can kind of get a taste on how things got brought up or how things became to be, or got to a certain extent. I've been in relationships before where the person has threatened that if I didn't stay with them, they were going to hurt both of us. I've been in so many different situations where you feel trapped and that person's threatening. Or I've even, when I was younger, I've told you guys the story before where my ex, I knew he was cheating on me. It was my first boyfriend ever. Hey, YouTube's Pest. And we were in the car. I think I was 18 years old. And I knew he was cheating. He wouldn't talk to me about it. He was doing it in pornography films, which I didn't find out until later. And I grabbed the wheel to the car in the middle of Wadsworth Boulevard in Lakewood, Colorado. It's very, very busy, like 3 or 4 lane road on each side. And I swerved it into oncoming traffic on the other side, just simply because I was hurting. So a lot of people say, how could he hurt his kids? Or how could she do it? And it's like, love makes you do crazy shit, obviously, right? Not just in this case, but in many different cases. Tia says, I wrote that very wrong, and I apologize for making anyone else think anything. Let me see what you said, Tia. I mean, I could get upset if people didn't see it my way. I should have been specific. Well, and we do kind of get I get that feeling. The only time I try to end a conversation about stuff is when people, they start belittling or making you feel stupid for having your opinion and what you want to say, you know. Tia's saying, how many have done research and not just watched the Netflix? What was it that made you think the way you do? I'll answer that question. Now, back in the day when this first happened, I sat on a lot of panels that spoke about it, or in chats. Making Lemonade covered this case really good, and she did really good research on it, and she has her opinions on it. And I learned a lot from Making Lemonade's channel in this case, actually. And of course, Molly Golightly's, Armchair Detectives, and I dived into everyone's point of view. I'm not one of those people where I just listen to one and I wouldn't watch another channel. I would listen to the most craziest, even conspiracies saying that this never happened. I've seriously, somebody almost convinced me of that because they explained it so good. Like, this didn't happen. This was a conspiracy. And I was like, whoa, dude, that kind of makes sense the way you're explaining it. CDT did good stuff on it. Mexi, a lot of the paranormal stuff was very interesting going there. So there's so many different angles. Critical K, everybody. There's so many different ones. And I'm one of those people where I enjoy listening to those, every single point of view, even if it sounds far-fetched. And it's very important, and it's difficult when you, that's why I didn't want to like open up the panel completely. But if I see familiar people pop up in the background, I'll let you up, because I think I don't want it to steer into an argument, but I do want to hear some of your opinions on this. But as far as when people start to get angry or offended and aggressive in the conversation, that's when I really start to back out. And I'm like, dude, like, please, it's almost like you're begging, like, please, it's just like religion. People are like, you don't believe this, you're going to hell. And it's the same feeling that I get. Like, people are like, how dare you think that? You're an asshole for thinking, you know, my opinion. And I do, listen, I've always said this, I lean more towards the idea of the first confession. I could see it playing out like that, but I don't know for sure. And people try to convince me. It's like, dude, you can't force someone to think something. First of all, you're going to offend them and piss them off, especially if you're calling them stupid. Hey, Lonnie, I love you. Hey, Kelly, I'm feeling much better, much better. And I actually took an at-home COVID test, and it's not even showing up in my system anymore. So it's gone. There's a really great blog called Like Case Analysis or something. Google it. Okay, I'll have to come back and screenshot that. Okay, so I'm going to put the link in the chat, Making Lemonade, if you're here. Tia, I'm interested if you wanted to come up too. Just to kind of give maybe your experience, especially as a creator, or even somebody that has been a viewer and it's like affected you in a way where you don't feel like you can speak, that you're not convinced. Love you, Missing in Life. Okay, I love you. So God help us all. Okay, there's the link. Remember, please be like not an asshole, and kind and just respectful, and don't belittle people and don't belittle me. Okay. Robbie, do you think Shanann's mother had anything to do with it? Absolutely not. No, I do not. I find her dream the morning that it happened very interesting, because I believe in intuition and stuff, but no, I don't think that. I see this as I see this the way I always see it, especially just going there and just, you know, having my feelings and my opinion. I just see it a really bad breakup fight going sour really quickly. And if you've ever been involved on any side of domestic violence, like I have, and I've gone to jail for me and my boyfriends fighting before. It happens so quickly. And I'm sure you guys know, whether, you know, you've gotten in physical altercations or arguments with words with your loved ones in the past, but it happens very quick. And anger and heartbreak can make us really do some stupid stuff. YouTube's Past says, my opinion on Watts has changed about 50 times in the last 2 years. Mine too. And, you know, I'll start to listen to newer perspectives and stuff, but I always stick with mine just because it makes the most sense to me. People treat these victims as if they were new people. That is scary too. It's kind of sets them up to be attacked or something sometimes, or some are vicious as fuck. Yeah, and I think that's because a lot of people, and hold on, Tia, let me put this on. I think it's because a lot of people have their guard up and they're ready to like fight their case and their side. You know what I'm saying? Okay, hold on one second. Let me make sure. Tia? Tia, is that you?
It's really me.
Oh, I love you. I see, and I know your voice, which is good too. Let me take this off the screen. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Oh, I love your hair. I love it.
Thank you. I just wanted to do something different today.
For being sick, you look really good.
I'm actually I'm going back to the world in 2 days, so I'm pretty much recovered almost completely.
That's awesome. That's
Yes.
awesome. I'm so glad.
Well, thank you.
Oh, Watts. Okay.
Do you know the case?
Do you know your name? Because that's how it feels with Watts.
It does. Yeah.
We did a lot of research on Watts. We didn't just do research. LFT is in here. She's my lovely partner, in case people don't know. But we did a lot of research and we were deep diving bitches. We went crazy and we deep dive on dumb shit. Honestly,
Me too.
we really did. But we came to some really interesting conclusions, in our opinion. And I will say that I was that crazy lady that would argue with people and get very upset. And I'm just being real. Like, I'm just telling you, like it is. Because we did so much research, I would get like angry with people who would say ridiculous things, who didn't do research, who watched the Netflix and were very passionate. And you know what? Those people have a voice too, and they should be able to voice their opinion without being criticized. And I truly regret doing that to people, because that's not fair. You can like whatever you like without being put down. Just because someone has done research on it, and who's to say my research or LFT's research is absolutely positively correct.
Exactly.
I stand by our stuff. I think it's pretty damn good, but who's to say? My opinion, and this is my opinion only.
How dare you?
They have the right person where he belongs. It's a horrific situation, and why he did what he did, that part I can't answer. That's beyond my pay grade. But I mean, that's an icky case that sticks with you no matter where you go and what you do.
Let me ask you, because you researched a lot and you have your opinion and stuff. So what do you say to people that are like, because I was told last night, if this were the case, someone told me, like, let's say Shanann was guilty of part of it, right?
Okay.
And people said, well, who cares whether she was or not? People should just leave it be, and they should shut up and stop talking about it and respect her family, because they are grieving and she's not here to defend herself and stuff. So what do you say to people that they're not bashing her, they just believe it that different way, and they want to continue looking into it and having these conversations and talking about it?
Honestly, if you would have asked me this question a year ago, I would have had a very impassioned answer for you.
You would have cussed me out?
No, I honestly think that people are entitled to their opinions. I don't have to agree with them. I don't have to encourage them. If we're talking anything about victim bashing, then I'm out, because I don't participate in any case with that. Shanann did not deserve what happened to her. Her children did not deserve what happened to her, period, end of story. I mean, that's just it. Now, if you have a different spin on something and he had help, or your opinions vary, those are your opinions. And I respect others' opinions now, being out of the case, if you will,
right,
where I think I was too involved. And I think this case, somebody just wrote perspective, just wrote, it brings out opinions and strong. It brings out emotion. It doesn't just bring out opinions. It brings out like emotion. How much money do you think SW is really making? I actually have the amount of money she was making written down somewhere. So he claims as much. I don't see. Okay. So Shelly, I will tell you, I worked for Unique. I worked one step away from Shanann. We had a lot of friends in common. I did not know her. I don't claim to know her. I didn't know anything about her. I will tell you that the pay grade at Laval was very similar. And what Shanann did was very good at marketing. However, she did not make as much as you think she would have made. And I have it figured out actually down to the penny. I cannot, LFT might be able to remind me of what it was, but what she put back into her business was as much as she made, which is why they were in a lot of debt. And that's what MLMs do. You can make a great deal of money. And I did make a great deal of money when I was working with the MLM. You can do very well, but it's not about selling the product. It's about recruiting the people. And Shanann was excellent at recruiting the people. But she didn't make the amount of money you think that she made. And that's sad because it is all about appearances. And every MLM that is similar to Unique is very similar to, that appearance, putting your family life out there. I did not like that.
Yeah. Well, and that goes to kind of, now I feel like I'm going to be grilling you and interviewing you because I kind of am.
Go right
but so when people, let's say that, because people also talk about NK, but I'm leaning it more towards the first confession, because I heard somebody being dragged for kind of believing the same thing that I believe, but it's like not even 100% because I think so many things in my head I can't decide. So let's say that there was a scenario, and this is you guys, again, just speculating and putting a scenario because that's what we do. Let's say that, he was angry that let's say she did kill the kids, right? If that was the scenario. And first of all, I would have probably called the police. Definitely. I don't know, because I've never, thank God, never been in that situation. But then he, killed her, and then would you think in any certain way, you'd want to look further back and be like, wow, he was a victim in some sort of way. If it was emotional or she was doing it to blackmail him, would that, I guess it would change your mind. But when people think like that, do you see that as like, oh my God, she's not here to defend herself? How dare you say that?
I don't see that. Well, let me say this. Regardless of what I think of Shanann, good, bad, indifferent, and I don't think negatively, but I'll say it again, what happened was not warranted.
Right.
She did not deserve it. And it doesn't really matter how she treated him. She didn't deserve the outcome. Divorce, leaving. You had a girlfriend. You could have, there's a million other could have, woulda, shouldas that could have happened there that didn't happen. I don't believe in dragging Shanann, period. What is she saying? She's off her leash tonight. What is she saying?
Put away. She said, my Watson binders, my Watts binders and drives have been put away. They reside in a closet. She had enough of those.
Oh, yeah. Please don't make me go look. Fair enough. I won't make you go look. I mean, I don't think it's fair for people. Yes. Chris should have left. Well, Shanann should have left the marriage. And that's the sad thing too, is appearances are that Shanann was a very strong individual and that she ran the show. And that's not 100% either. Chris was pretty demanding behind the scenes. And
Mm.
she was pretty, she was not as strong as she appeared on camera.
I think that's a lot of us, you know, we put on our best
Of
parts when we
course.
come on most of the time. You don't want to see all my sad shit, or, you know, you don't want to see all that or show people that.
I say F off to people who want to drag any victim. Basically, that's my opinion across the board. And I'm not a black and white person. My life is gray area. I look at gray area all the time, but there's just no reason to drag victims or to justify behavior, I guess, is justify murder. The only justification is if it's self-defense. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, that's a gray area.
Yeah, well, so this was brought up last night on the panel, so I'm going to ask you another question. Because a lot of people, you know, they're like, let the dead be, you know, victims and all that kind of stuff. So when people are passionate or are like, well, I don't believe that happened. I believe, let's say they believe she, you know, did this.
Right.
Do you think that it would be important to, like, if it were to come to surface that that did happen and there was some sort of proof or something, to remove that victim status from somebody, or just be like, no, they are a victim forever, even though we found out that they were a part of it now? What do you think about that?
I think it would affect the case if we take emotion out of it. And I know people, Chris was demanding. I know, you guys, I know, everyone, I get it. He really was. And I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to be that.
You don't have to be sorry, though. That's the beauty of having your research. You have an opinion because you've looked into things, or you're convinced of something.
I did. And there was a lot of psychology we did behind the scenes too. It wasn't just spreadsheets and things like that. I'm sorry, totally off topic. I think that if we found out things were differently done in the timeline, or if Shanann killed her children first, I think that affects the case. If we're taking emotion out of it, purely taking emotion out of it, I think it affects the case. Because then it becomes, what did Chris react to?
Exactly. Well, yeah. And it kind of takes that mindset of, like, you know, when you see something happen, because there's so many people, we often hear mothers or family members say, if somebody did this to my kids, I would probably end up going crazy and killing them. Or, you know, we hear people say stuff like that all the time. It's like a protective mama bear thing, stuff like that. But when we look at this, it's like, well, what if that were the scenario here? What if, I'm not saying it was.
Okay, no, I get that.
Yeah. People, but, you know, so
if you take emotion out of it, I think that it would affect Chris's life. You know, I think things would be different if that were the case. I don't think it was the case. And I personally think Chris's first interview and confession was the real deal. And I know that not everyone agrees, and I respect that. I get that.
Me too.
You certainly, you know, New Orleans lady says she's not convinced that he killed the kids. I get that. I get that. It's, you know why? And this was the thing, I'll be honest with you, this was the thing as a parent was unfathomable to me, was to, oh, somebody delete that comment.
Which one? Oh. Which one?
The Yasmin.
Oh, okay, gotcha. And I think we have somebody backstage, but I'm verifying, but you can keep going. I just want to make sure that that's them.
Yeah, I just want to, like, I don't want to put, and like I said, a year or 2 years ago, when I was knee deep in the research and looking at things, we were so emotionally involved in it that I would get angry, and I would get angry at people who couldn't see what I saw, because we did so much research on it. We did so much research on it. And now looking back, it's like, well, dumbass, who's to say your research is the right research? And, you know, coulda, woulda, shoulda. There's a million things that could have happened there that didn't happen there. And that's the horrific issue. For whatever reason, I think we all have been Shanann, and I think we've all been Chris in different situations in life, which is why we can relate so well.
I've also been in NK.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, not to that extent, but you know,
no, of course not. But yeah, you've been this.
I've been an NK in bed with both the couple.
You've been a side bitch in the bed
with both of them.
Yeah.
So, oh, okay. Hold on. Ashley, that's you, right? Yeah.
It's me.
Okay, gotcha.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
This is my NK.
I feel so sick today, so I'm not going to stay up on long. But you're speaking my language here, so I can't say no.
Okay.
Okay, I think for one, the issue with her life being so public, you know, hurt the case. You know, people look into those videos, for instance, the Christmas one, and they call her a child abuser, and, you know, and I've said this to you before, but once you let people in like that and they know the outcome of the situation, they're going to dissect those videos and they're going to see what they want. They're not going to see like what's really there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she got a lot of hate specifically, you know, for a lot of those videos and being out there in the public. And I honestly, like, victim bashing, like Tia said, I have literally fought with people online. Literally fought with people online. I've been reported and removed from groups. But I mean, when you're putting your life out there like that, I mean, when you're alive, you get criticized. And when you pass away, some people have no boundaries. You're still going to get criticized regardless. And for people saying that Shanann had killed the girls, if she was in such... Okay, I'll come help you.
Dog growling?
No. Well, Avery, I'm gonna come help you in 1 sec, okay? Go plug it in. Go plug it in. Go plug it in. Sorry, guys, 1 sec.
It's okay. See, and I think with any case, because Tia, I said this the other day, is like people make videos about me, for example, right? And they have strong opinions and they do not think I'm a good person. They actually think I'm a horrible person. So if I were to get murdered, I wonder, would those people remove those videos or would they continue and like talk about my life and be like, well, he was this or he did this, and not saying I deserve to die, but critiquing my behavior, because I don't automatically, you know, when I die, I'm not automatically going to become an angel and be like, I'm perfect now, because I am who I am. And I got to where I am because of a reason. And some things were bad, some were good, you know? So it makes me wonder, would it be okay to keep those videos up? Or would they still be allowed the opinion of who they thought I was while I was alive?
Well, I think they're entitled to their opinion. I think
and they're assholes, by the way.
Yeah, they're total assholes. And fuck them.
Yeah. Yes.
But I also think that people who have class and who know you, who've seen changes, who have done, you know, how far you've come just in the last few months, God forbid you die. God forbid. I would hope that people would have enough respect for themselves that they wouldn't drag. And that's the real issue here, is the lack of respect for yourself and how you think of yourself. In order to drag someone who is deceased or a murder victim, not just deceased, but a murder victim that was murdered so brutally. I think I think it speaks more about you and not the person who's deceased. And that's not an excuse. It's not anything. I mean, I just like I said before, I disagree with victim bashing of any kind.
Right. Now, looking at victim bashing on a different level, I want to ask you another question, because the families are victims in this situation. You know, they're hurting. All of them are. So as far as his family goes, you know, when people, what do you think about people judging his family? I guess I'll ask you that first. Like maybe judging their parenting of him. They should have done this, or it's their fault.
I hate it. I hate it because they lost. No one's a perfect parent, and I don't know what went on in that house. I don't know how things went. Do I think they were perfect? No, I don't. But these people lost grandchildren and a daughter-in-law, and whatever their relationship was with their daughter-in-law is neither here nor there. They lost a daughter-in-law, they lost their grandchildren, and they did love their grandchildren. I think that's, I don't think that, I think the stories are bigger than what happened. I think things can get blown out of proportion, not an excuse for any bad behavior. I think there was bad behavior on all sides. I really, truly do. The Watts family deserves, well, there's certain things that I'm very careful of how I want to say.
Me too.
I do that too. You can't really blame the parents for a way a kid turns out.
You cannot. I agree with that. That's absolutely correct. You cannot. And thank you for saying that, because that's the best. Yes.
Yeah, I actually have a cousin who, you know, was raised in the best of the best. I mean, the most caring parents, you know, money, like they had it all. Okay. And this kid, he grew up and he was just a monster. He would beat the crap out of his girlfriend. He's been in jail numerous times. And his parents used to always say, you know, at family gatherings, people would talk. They'd be like, well, where did I go wrong? Well, where did I go wrong? Well, you didn't. Some people are simply just wired differently. I was grown up in a very abusive household, alcoholic father, very abusive. And I turned out to never be like that. So I personally hate when they blame the parents. It's not their responsibility. Once you raise your children, you've raised your children. Their mistakes are their own. Their actions are their own. And I hate that, you know, they're held responsible for what he's done. And people go after Cindy for saying, you know, that's my son, I'll always love him. Until you're in that situation, it is best you just keep your mouth shut. Parents will go to great lengths for their kids, and that love is and always will be unconditional. People can say otherwise all they want, but they just don't know. And, you know, she got a lot of backlash for saying, you know what, we didn't like Shanann. Well, if they would have come out crying, saying, you know, we loved her so much, and people found out otherwise, well, then they just would have got a whole nother side of the bashing of them. So for her to come out and, you know, be upfront and honest was the best thing for them to do.
She didn't have a media person to tell her how to behave in front of the camera either.
Yeah.
And so, you know, she did answer questions honestly, and she did say some things that maybe she shouldn't have said. That's an opinion, not a fact. But, you know, she didn't have that media, that buffer, if you will.
Yeah. Well, they do tell you, you know, kind of what to say and, you know, what to try to avoid or redirect. They do that. But I think, I mean, I am not a Chris Watts. I can't even talk.
Get out of here. Get out of here, Ashley.
I don't sympathize with him at all. I do believe he is where he needs to be, and he's going to stay. But the part of me that has a heart, I mean, you see their videos, and people, like I've said this before, I have gotten into fights with people saying, you know, Chris has had this in him all along. And in my personal opinion, I don't see it. I see that they were both loving parents, and literally something just happened, whether it was a buildup or whether, you know, it wasn't, from what we saw, it wasn't showed. And yes, she was putting on a show for her business. Yes, but that was still their real life. They were married for how long? Was it 8 years?
Yeah.
okay, you cannot fake it for that long. You can't.
I agree with you. I really do agree with everything you just. I'm not a sympathizer. I'm not an empathizer of Chris. I don't
Get out of
think
here.
I don't think that it was a split decision. I do think it was a build up. And I think he was, to be honest, I think he enjoyed the swing and single life for a couple weeks.
He
I
had
think
to
he got
have.
used to that.
I think a lot of people in that situation, like I said in chat, weak men can't handle strong women.
Well,
They
and
can't.
I think that this is where I do think NK is responsible. I think she preyed on that.
So do I, 100%.
I think
Sorry,
she preyed
Robbie.
on that. And now I don't think she had anything to do with the murders. I don't. I really, really don't. I think she's a bystander when it comes to that. I think that was him.
What bothers me about that one, and why I think that whether she had, I think this is what I came on to say. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm all messed up today.
We got you, girl.
The lack
Don't
of
screw it up, Ashley.
emotion. Bite me, Robbie.
Okay.
The lack of emotion that woman had in those interviews, not only knowing that they were missing, but when she found out that they were gone, that fake cry, you know, when she's like, oh, those poor girls, when she does that, I'm telling you, when I say that I wanted to smash my TV, I wanted to smash my TV. It was so not genuine. Like, I think that even if she didn't physically have a part, I think she knew something. That 111-minute phone conversation won't get out of my head. Every time I come to this case, you cannot tell me. I can remember a half an hour conversation that I had with somebody, you know, a couple weeks ago. And to sit there and say you had a 111-minute conversation and you just don't know what you talked about. Well, to me, that's bullshit. It's
Agreed.
bullshit. So whether she had a physical or, you know, she was like one of those manipulative bitches who's dropping hints and Chris being who he is, you know, passive or however he is, we don't know how they really are. But when you're looking in on it this way and you see the personality that we've gotten to see, he's very easily manipulated.
Let me ask you guys this. Do you think with that 111-minute phone call that he, and she could have been dropping hints and manipulating. I totally think that. Oh, I just lost my train of thought. I hate when I do that. I just looked at chat.
I do that all the time.
Never look at chat.
I don't look at chat when I'm up here.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. Do you think that he was able to compartmentalize, in other words, take some of her things and still act on his own?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Robbie, do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm one of those people where I kind of would have to see something happen to believe it fully. But I think that he, because, okay, let's go back to me being a Chris Watts sympathizer, which I'm not, by the way, but I've been him, like you said, we've been all of them. I think that he was wanting to start over. And so when he hid all the bodies if something else happened or whatever, I believe that it was like, man, I'm in trouble. And I'll kind of get to what you were asking here in a second, but I wanted to say this first. Man, I'm in trouble. I want to cover it up. And my life was just that close to beginning again, you know, but doing it completely on his own is what you're asking, like starting over. I think so. I think he could have, because I think that sometimes it takes somebody else to push you, because who's to say him and NK would have lasted? You know, it could have just been getting him out and then they broke up and he's like, well, at least I'm on my own now or something. But I think once you want something so bad and you feel trapped long enough, that really you will try your hardest to make your life happen, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Well, when you guys went out to Survey,
I've never been there.
You went there
multiple times, yes.
You just made me like stop and think for a second. I have a pounding migraine right here. Don't make me think too
I'm
hard.
sorry.
When you guys went out to Serbia, and I think about this all the time because, you know, I think about this case a lot, especially because of the situation that I'm in right now.
Mhm.
At any given time, with my ex, and the things that he says to me, I could be dead tomorrow. And that's just a fact.
Mhm.
And I think once you get, like you said, once you get pushed into that situation and you think, okay, well, now I'm going to be free, but then you go, oh, I lost my train of thought. You go, oh my goodness. I
I
think he
think
thought he was
NK
going to
was
get
a
away with it. I think he
me
thought,
too.
this was a new beginning. When he did that interview, he thought he was getting away with it. I don't think Shanann saw it coming at all. And when people say, maybe she had killed the kids, but if you're in that kind of situation, and I've been mad at my kids, and I'm telling you, I've been mad at my kids. And if you're that mad to the point where you lay hands on your children to the point where they have died, you are going to be frantic. Okay, you're going to be frantic, regardless of who you are or what mental state. Like something's going to click where you're frantic. And I feel like if she had done that, and Chris was on top of her smothering her, there would have been defensive wounds.
Mhm.
I think she would have fought back. I think.
I do agree with that. Already, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think the
And
lack of defensive wounds speaks
it is
volumes.
concerning. And the fact that she had no bruises with him, like kneeling on her arms or anything like that, how would she get home at the time she got home, kill her kids, him kill her, and then him start loading them up? There's no time for processing there. If she had done that to the kids and he had walked in on it, how would he walk in on it? He was home the whole time with the kids.
Mhm.
And he was at home waiting for her. She came home at almost 2 a.m. And all this happened when he packed her up at what, 5:45, 6 a.m., right?
And where's the rage? If you just found out your kids were deceased in their beds, I mean, there would be like a dad who loved his children, a dad who was so involved with his. Where's the rage?
There
Mhm.
was none. The scary thing is how calm he is.
Right.
And it's scary that I actually use this case to teach my daughter about men. You don't know who the fuck you're laying next to.
Well, that's what I was going to say next is no matter what you think happened or who you think did anything, anybody, we often hear narcissist, psychopath, sociopath, whoever did this, or Chris is one, or people will say whoever did it is, right? So we often hear, he was a father, how could he do this? Or she's a mom, she wouldn't do that, stuff like that. But when we're using words like psychopath, sociopath, and stuff like that, we as logical people who aren't sociopaths, hopefully, and psychopaths, we can't register that. But whoever did this could have been psychopathic, sociopath,
Right.
all those things. So we're not going to understand their state of mind because we don't think like that.
I think that's why we get so wrapped up in the cases, because we're not capable of thinking that way. I mean, shit, there's been times where I wish I could have given my kids a good whack on their ass, but I can't bring myself to do it.
Carol makes noises sometimes when I'm trying to sleep, and I'm like, Carol, I love you so much, but please stop.
My bunny too. My rabbit too. She jumped up on me at like 2:30 in the morning the other night, scared the shit out of me. I screamed so loud, and I
You guys,
swatted
my
her.
dog just jumped on my lap when you said that. So help me
Oh.
Well, see, Carol, the only sound I don't like is when she chews on the corner of her cage. It's the glue, because I know it's not good for her. That's what makes I like her sounds. It comforts me. But when she does that, I'm like, Carol, you've got to stop doing that. That's not healthy for you. But you get angry. But see, since we're not sociopaths and we're not like, we don't do things in a jealous rage or maybe an angry rage, or we don't plot out people's murders, we can't register and think something, if you're a mother, you're like, oh my God, I can't see her doing that. I'm a mother. I love my kids. I know she loved her kids.
I don't
But
see her doing that. I don't.
Well, you're wrong.
And you talk about
I'm kidding.
and you talk about intuition. And Robbie, we talked about that last night. Remember what I told you to go look at? I was like, you know what? I never watched this, but something pulled me into it.
You can tell them if you want to, because it was interesting.
It's the same. Yeah, maybe in a second. It's like this. It's like the same thing. When you see her, and she was a big presence on social media, and you can fake it all you want, but people who have like some kind of intuition towards that, like they can tell, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, she's a mom, and you don't want to think any parent's going to do that to their kids, but at the same time, it happens every day. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it happens every single day. And this case, I honestly think if she wasn't such a presence online, we wouldn't know who the fuck Chris Watts is.
Oh, I agree with that. Well, actually, now that I see that, I'm going to disagree with that. You're
going to disagree with yourself. Way. I do that all the time.
It's the horrific way that he disposed of the bodies that, oh, shush.
Hey, puppy.
It's the horrific way that he disposed that I think we would have heard about. Now, having her social media presence, yeah. See, I hear something and I'm like, yes, I agree. No, I don't. Nope, I don't agree with that.
But you got to think about it. Like, stuff like this happens. Like, I was actually just looking in on a case that happened a couple years ago about a mom who individually drowned each one of her kids in Texas and made the others watch.
Yeah.
That's brutal. That is brutal. And I guarantee you not one person in here has heard of it. You know what I mean? I think.
Well, I did a poll that I'm glad you said that, because right now, if people wanted views, they're doing Summer Wells. They're doing all these big things. But it's like when you hear cases like this and you're like, oh, well, you didn't hear about that. That's another thing I did a poll on that we could even talk about that right now, is the cases some people choose to talk about or go out and protest in front of someone's house, or we do spirit boxes and stuff. Why aren't we doing this on the smaller cases that other people are covering, that other people actually care about?
They should be.
Why aren't we doing a spirit box on missing persons that are not popular at all? Because
I would kill. First of all, if you guys know of a credible psychic, let me know, or someone who would be willing to talk to me. I'm working on a missing persons case with LFT. 37 years this person's been missing, and no one's talking about it. Mm-hmm. And we actually stopped working on Summer Wells because of this case, because every channel you look at, and I'm really glad that Summer's getting the attention, but I really want other children, other people, other adults, not just children. I want them to get the attention too, because there's families who are missing those people as well.
Exactly.
And these YouTubers don't understand that if they put, like, not like you guys who are doing, this stuff, because I respect that 100%. Mm-hmm. There are YouTubers out there who are doing the clout chasing and who are into the drama and who do all of this stuff. And if they only put that energy into, these small cases, it could probably do amazing freaking things. I was just looking at something today on TikTok, and they found somebody who was missing for 20 years.
See? Yeah, I just pray that we find our dude. He's a former Marine and a Marine reservist, and he was 21 years old when he disappeared 37 years ago, and his brother has never stopped looking for him.
Can you drop the link to that video, or tell me which one, and I'll drop it in the chat so people can.
Yeah. Well, the name of it's on our channel, and right. I'm not trying to get people to go to our channel. That's not.
Yeah, but they need to. But you know what though, like with stuff like this though, that's the thing is I haven't heard of this, you know, and this is such a long, and that's another reason why I haven't, Tia and Ashley and everyone, I haven't even gotten invested in. I think it was you one time getting me invested in the summer wells for a while, and I was looking into it. I was like, no, I don't want to, because the fact that other people are talking about it, and Chris Watts, I got very sucked into and still am. And then it became something where it's almost like people weren't even focusing on that. They were focusing on the views that they can get with it. But I was so hooked on it, and I still am. So I don't want to get hooked on another one because I'll want to talk about it. And personally, I don't ever want to do summer wells on my channel or anything. I want to help Lokamai with her missing persons cases that are big and stuff, and other people.
Live for Lokamai. I live
Me
for
too.
Lokamai. She's doing really great, awesome, amazing things. So I can't say enough about Lokamai. I watch her. First of all, her voice is calming. She's soothing. And I watch her when I'm going to bed. I listen. So, yay, Lokamai. Keep going. Keep doing your thing, girl. Because I'll drop that channel link all day long, every day.
It's exactly what people should be covering. I mean, the summer's wells, yeah, she needs to be home.
Is it Harry Milligan?
Harry Milligan.
Okay, I'm going to drop that video.
Just, you know, and the thing that I want to stress, and I know we want to get back to Watts, and I apologize for steering this, but it's
this is about all victim bashing too. So it's not just the Watts case
that have had to deal with, and this case is a real doozy. The last people to see Harry Milligan were his best friends, and none of them talk. None of them have ever talked, and the police have never interviewed, and it's just a weird, really weird case. But there's a family behind that person that's missing, and they're good people. And that's what I want to focus on as well, is the people behind that are suffering as well. Those are victims too. You know, and you were talking about the Watts. The Rusiks are victims. The Watts are victims. And you may not agree, and that's okay. That's totally cool. But they lost grandchildren, and they lost daughters, and they lost daughter-in-laws, and they're victims. So just when you're, and I always try to put myself in that position, and I know that's really sick and twisted, but to try to show grace to someone else is sometimes I have to say, well, what if that were me? What if I lost my child in a horrible, horrific way? How would I behave? Shit, I don't know. There's no rule book.
I mean, look how I behave anyways. I rip into people just for pissing me off anyways. I could only imagine if they were talking about my family or, you know, trying to assume something else and stuff. It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch videos about yourself now. If people make videos, like I can't. I'm gonna get pissed off, you know, because they're talking about me or my hamster or my family members. So I get that feeling, but I don't get the feeling that the Rusiks are feeling at all. But I can, you know.
But no, you can identify. You can identify. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to hog up all your time, so I'm sorry for staying up here so long.
I love that you're here talking about it because
especially
after last night.
I like the way you see it. I didn't see that live.
Okay, so first of all, very good friends channel. I was going to show the video, but because I clipped part of it. This got brought up on we're all like, we have family on here like that. We're close. And it was on someone's panel who I love so much, like a sister. And this situation got brought up. And the whole reason, like you said, we could talk about other crime cases with this, but the Watts case got brought up the other day. And that's why I was like, I don't talk about something unless I'm passionate about it. And it brought it up. And this Granny's Watching was being dragged for having an opinion on Shanann and all this and stuff and being called a victim basher and all that stuff. And it made me really pissed off. So I was like, I'm going to schedule a live and do a poll on victim bashing. And when does it go too far? When does it become victim bashing? And so basically last night it got brought up that I was going to be doing this live tonight. many of us started putting our different opinions respectfully. And then all of a sudden it was not accepted. One of our opinions wasn't, and it became a problem. And we went for about a half hour listening to each other. And finally I felt cornered and disrespected. So I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm leaving. You guys are being fucking assholes. And I left, but it can go south really quickly, really quick. And you have to have an open mind, especially in true crime. If you're going to talk about a case, you have to be willing to not get so, I mean, you could be offended and defensive of your theories and stuff, but we got to be careful the way we go about it, because you can really piss someone off.
Well, I agree. That is so true. And when I came into true crime was a cool place to be. True crime was where it was at. And it was, people were talking to each other and people were working with each other. And there was a lot of camaraderie, and it was a cool place. And it was cool to watch different channels when you had different creators together. It was, I loved it. I really did. And that was before I never considered having a channel. It was just, as a viewer, I loved it. I was obsessed, you know, and I liked the people that I liked. And if I didn't like it, I'm not a hate watcher. So I don't hate watch anybody because I think that's dumb.
Yeah.
But now, if you vary in opinion at all, you get dragged for that. And I hate that. I hate that for other creators. I hate that for viewers. I think that stinks that we have to draw lines in the sand. Like, if I like this person, you can't like that person. Or if this is your opinion, we can't talk. That's not who we are in our little corner. We welcome differing opinions, because I learn from that. If I keep the same opinion, I can't learn anything. I'm not going to grow. I may disagree. I may get upset. I may stomp and yell and act like a princess or whatever. But eventually I am going to sit down and think about what you have to say. And I'm probably 90% of the time going to agree with you after I've thought about it. And I just wish we could get back to the place. And to be honest with you, I'm going to say this out loud too. There are some people who should not be friends. And I stand by that statement too. Like, I'm okay with that too. There are some people who should not be friends.
I agree.
And I'm glad that has not, I'm glad that's happened. But I think there should be respect. And I don't think you should be dragged for being in this chat or being in that chat. And I feel really bad for viewers who are afraid to say something in someone's chat. And I've been there. I've been watching chats, and you're afraid to say anything because you don't want someone else to see you and have another creator get upset, or viewers get upset, what have you. So that, I saw it happening at the end of Watts, but Summer Wells has just ruined it. And it's not, God bless her, it's not her. But the creators who have taken on, and that was one of the reasons that we stopped, was because I don't want to deal with that drama. I want to be able to report things that are factual. I want to be able to talk about things that are factual, and I want to hear people's emotions, but I don't necessarily want to have to agree with everyone in order for them to like me.
Well, also, that's another thing, you know, people have said, there's other cases, move on from Watts. And I talk about this case a lot privately with tons of people because I'm so interested in it still. It was never, you know, people are like, talk about Summer Wells, she's missing. I'm like, I don't want to even go there because I saw what this did. And it's very easy for me to see. I know, like, I'm against like body language experts and stuff. I don't really agree. Like, there's some things that make sense, like nervous tics, but I think everybody has their own. But in my specific opinion, when I see certain people, and you know, everybody, you know, when you see that name Summer Wells pop up, hashtag Summer Wells or Summer Wells, you see people lighting candles for Summer Wells the other day for her birthday, throwing birthday parties, doing spirit boxes, talking about her. We need to find her. We need to find her. Yes, we do. However, at the same time, when I'm hearing how the passion, and I say that like, you know, with quotes, and these people saying, I care about exploited children or missing children and blah, blah, blah. Well, then let's look. We brought this to people's attention. Why aren't you out marching in front of someone's house that's not popular? Why aren't you out looking for these other ones? If you are so passionate, it's a repeated popularity thing. And that's why I learned with true crime, I'm like, ooh, I got to be careful when I talk about something and make sure that I'm interested, because you see people that will just randomly bring it up just because they want that attention in their direction. And it's annoying. I saw that myself with Chris Watts when it was a popular case, I was passionate about it, but I'm like, how many times can I talk about it? And the times I did was when I was only interested about something new with it, or the spirit boxes are fun, stuff like that. But there's only so much you can say until you're interested, So with me, it's a popularity contest. It is not that people care about summer wells. There are some that do, but the majority, I don't think they do.
I agree. Listen, it's a joke. It is a joke between LFT, Crazy Mama, and myself. Like, we don't cover for views. We don't cover for subscribers. We cover because we're passionate about what we do. We enjoy what we do, and we want to help people. And I proudly will tell you exactly how much our channel has earned. I proudly, and am I jealous of those who earn a little money? Yeah, I am. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm a little jealous. We've earned a whopping $10.
Can I pause you right there and say I just filed my taxes, and for the first time ever, I made enough last year on here to have to file. And guess what? They ain't taking taxes out of that. And I was like, the money I would have owed if I wouldn't have done my what do you call those when you write things off? Was like a lot of money. I was like, what the hell? So the more I get paid on here now, I need to remember you need to set some aside, because that's going back.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is
So
going back.
Be careful.
I congratulate anyone who makes money on here, because it is not easy. It really isn't. But we haven't done it for the money. We're stupid. We should have.
Hey, and that's why I say right now, any one of us can go on there and we can lose morals. And I know, like, I could tag Summerwell's name probably 1,000 in my chat or something, depending on what it's about. But first of all, I don't want to. It's not that I'm not interested and I don't want her found. I can watch everybody else and I'm fine with that. I don't need that. And I've never felt truly connected to this case. And to be honest, when I first heard about it, my intuition screamed at me about something that I'll never tell you guys because it's sad. But my intuition already tells me something about it. I could come on here and talk about that, but I'm not going to.
Because I know what that is.
I told you privately.
Behind the scenes talks with you about your intuition again.
Oh, I'll tell you what it is. It's not a good outcome.
Well, I want your intuition on the case we're working on, because I really would. I'd love to, honestly, I'd love to hear. Like I said, I want to talk to. I'll listen to anybody. I just, especially, you know what? I don't really want you to look at our video. Just go by what I tell you and hit that intuition and tell me what you think. That's where your gut feeling is.
And I don't want to ever talk about, like, how how exhausting it is to operate a channel anyways. If you're going to come on and waste your time about something that you're not really interested in, but people are going to watch and listen and stuff, that is, like, to me, it's a waste of my energy and time. I talk about tons of different things I'm interested in, and I am incredibly passionate about the Chris Watts case still. And me and Ashley talk about it and tons of friends, and it's like, but there's only a certain time to bring up something when it's truly, and that's why I wanted to, and thank you guys for all being respectful, because I didn't bring it up tonight to say, let's say what we think and what you guys think. The purpose was that we all think lots of things different, and that's okay. That's the whole purpose. And it's not even just about Watts. I think that's
how shit gets solved, though, because if you're stuck in your own opinion and you're not open to others, well, then you're not going to get anywhere.
Right.
I agree. Well, I think that's it. Like, you can't learn. That's what I was saying earlier. I can't learn from my own opinion. I can learn from research, but I got to hear what someone else that is really and truly why LFT and I work so well together. We don't agree on 90% of the things. And it makes for really interesting conversation. And it really makes for heated conversation in some some instances, but it makes for really great conversation because at the end of the day we go, oh shit, you're probably right.
Robbie's almost changed my mind a few times.
Yeah, where you just
and I don't want to. I don't ever try to be like,
no, but it makes sense. It makes sense.
You see it through someone else's eyes and you're like, oh shit.
I think people who are stuck in their own ways, like with cases like this, because I get that way too. If I have an opinion and I'm adamant on it and you can't change my mind and I don't even want to hear it, chances are I relate to it and chances are it's a trigger for me.
Okay, I'll tell you, someone's asking, I'll tell you, but I don't want to like be detailed of what my intuition is. And it's just like, to me, it's just like overdone, but I've never even really looked into, I've watched your stuff. You've told me about the case when we had the conversation, Tia. But my friend Amy told me about it first. She was like telling me when it first happened, what had happened. And you know how I test my intuition for entertainment purposes only. And this vision in my head was, like a big sewer, almost like, the movie It, almost like a big sewer pipe. I saw, my intuition saw her deceased in one of those. That's what it is.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, and it's never changed. Ashley's like, screw you.
And I'm out.
But that's what it's always, and it's never changed. Just like, and that's why often with the Watts case, people are like, well, how could you think that? How could you do that? You also have to understand, like, I know we do my intuition for entertainment purposes only and stuff, but a lot of times people have emailed me some crazy stuff like, oh my God, you were dead on. I couldn't say it in chat because it was embarrassing or this or that. So, and my intuition's also never changed about the Watts case and the way I see things playing out. I don't want to see things that way. I don't want to see that way with Summer Wells either, but it just never changes. It's like inside my brain and I can't change it.
Because it's a feeling. There's a feeling associated with it. When you are empathic, it's not just a thought. It's, do you know, like, how do I explain that? But that's how I see things. When I'm looking at it from my gut feeling, it's like, it's a feeling. It's not just a thought. And that's what I get from you is like your feeling was seeing her there.
Yes. And I didn't even I don't even know if I had seen a picture of her at the time. And I was just, it's what I saw in my head. Like D-Rod, I'm talking about Summer Wells, like what my intuition said. This was when it first happened or when she first went missing. And it's never changed. And then when I've gone to the Watts house and the way I see things like playing out, that's always, I've just had a hard time. And I can't even say because I don't want to offend people, but you see people hashtag certain things like Shine Like Shanann, all this kind of stuff. And like, you don't want to be disrespectful, but you're like, oh, okay. And I'm not going to be disrespectful about it because I do want to respect her family and I want his family to be respected because they weren't there. People, look, my mom could have been an influence on me if something would have happened to my boyfriends because my mom didn't like some of them and didn't get along because they treated me poorly or she was being a mama bear. So even if I would have ended up, unfortunately, I wouldn't, but if I would have killed one of them, my mom would have been, especially if people were saying, no, they were in the wrong. My mom would have been like, my baby boy didn't do this. And I think a lot of the time when people talk about Cindy Watts, is that you, Ashley?
Yes, it's me.
Okay. When they talk about Cindy Watts in the beginning and her saying, he did not do this, please look into this. We have to remember, I don't have kids, but if I did, and to everybody that has kids, you have to imagine that shock. If anybody I loved killed someone and they were saying, no, please help me, this isn't true, I would want to root for them and say, if this isn't true, please look into this.
Especially if it's completely out of character,
Yeah. And my mom would say, my son's boyfriend was a fucking crazy psycho. Please look into this. And, people would be like, don't you dare call him a psycho. He's dead. And she's just going off her experience. And I really, really think Cindy Watts and Bronny, like they just get, it's terrible. I really don't like the way that they've been spoke about or treated and stuff. And yeah, what could it come off very disrespectful? Yeah, because Shanann was deceased, but to me, she didn't have a good experience. They didn't have a good experience with each other. Sounds like all of them. So of course you're not going to just automatically change your opinion because that person's gone.
Well, and also you're talking about two very strong-minded, strong-willed women who are loving one man differently. You have a mother loving a son who's protective, and you have a wife loving, her husband. It's two different things, and they need to respect each other. And there was a lot of passion there. And not, I don't mean, you know what I'm saying? Like there was just a lot of passion on both sides, and, everyone loved the kids. I have a hard time with bashing Cindy and Ronnie Watts. I do. I certainly have a hard time bashing any Rusek or any Watts. I just do. I think it's unnecessary roughness.
And you get those people that relate with certain sides, because we want to take our real life experiences and relationships, or sister-in-law, mother-in-law, whatever it is, daughter-in-law, and we want to apply that to each situation. Be like, I know people like that. It's like, well, you're kind of molding that person to be like that person because you're seeing certain traits that maybe you want to see, or that reminds you of somebody that you absolutely hate. Maybe Shanann reminded a lot of people that they hated, or NK reminds people of the mistress that their husband cheated with,
Mm-hmm.
So of course you get, and I do realize a lot of people that have been cheated on in this case really get offended even more worse. They really do, because the anger and the hurt and the jealousy you have from that, you are in some way projecting that into the case. You are, because it's happened to you and you know how that feels and how dare them. And then there's death involved. So, then it gets more, you get more passionate about it. But again, I've been NK, Chris, and kind of Shanann. I've never been pregnant or, stuff like that. But I've been all of them.
Siren.
What did he say?
Siren cracks me up.
I need you
I forget you're gonna scream.
I don't like when people say, I know somebody like that. I know somebody like that. Listen, we don't know them.
Mm-hmm.
We see their personality traits in an extremely tragic situation. That could very well not be what they act like on a day-to-day basis, or it could be. We've seen a little snippet of their life on camera. Mm-hmm. We have no idea who these people are.
And the relationship mainly between Shanann and Cindy is like, we hear about Nutgate and how they were treated, and the wedding.
You only
how they didn't
get a
show
little
up.
look into that. I mean, that was bad. I'm not going to candy coat that. That was bad. They had a bad relationship, and that's obvious. That's clearly obvious. But at the same time, for them to be together for that long, there had to have been good times. It can't just all be hate like that. You know what I mean? They did have gatherings, birthday parties, and stuff like that. And shit, my ex, I hated his mom. Oh my God, did I ever hate her? But I never acted like it. You know what I mean? And
well, I hear people saying, I would have danced with my son at that wedding. I would have gone. That's your son. Yes, but like at the same time, if my mom or dad remarried somebody I didn't like, whatever it is, I don't have kids again, so I really don't know the feeling. But listen, if you think something's going to be a bigger problem, especially going to a birthday party or wedding, sorry, I'm going to sit out, dude. This is too much drama. I am not going to your fucking wedding. I don't care if you're my kid, my mom, whatever.
I've done
more
that.
Trouble. Screw you.
So have I.
I do that every single year at Christmas time. When my family tries to sucker me and go into my asshole uncle's house, I tell them, get fucked. I ain't going.
Well, fuck weddings anyways. I don't need a reminder how happy you are. You know,
and
what
they're
I'm saying?
Not happy. They just spent $50,000, $75,000 for one day.
Not this girl. This girl ran off to an island, got married on the island in the sand, spent 2 weeks down there, and then came back and had a party for everybody else.
If I was ever stupid enough to get married, I would never get married. But if I was ever persuaded, and I would probably have to be drugged to get me to agree to that, because I will never be married. But if I were to do that, shit, buy me a nice ring and let's go to the courthouse. But
Don't ever invite me to your weddings because I don't want to go. I'm that person, and I'm happy for people. But I'm always sitting there. I'm like, it's gonna end in tears, because I've been in weddings where I actually have hooked people up, and they cheated on each other, divorced, and all this, and then they invite me to their second wedding, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to this one.
I just don't think people know how to love people anymore. Honestly, I don't, especially with social media. There's too much access to temptation, and there's too much sneakiness going on. I just don't think it holds the same values that it did before.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Archie.
I really don't.
Well, and listen, I'm not saying I don't support love and marriages and stuff like that. I
don't.
In the conversation where I don't believe in expensive funerals or weddings because it's just so much. It's God, all that money going down the drain.
Listen,
Paris
I tell
Hilton,
my kids that all the time. Don't have a funeral for me. I will come back and fucking haunt you.
Did you see Trisha Paytas she had 2 weddings just recently. She got on a private airplane, I think for her private seat, where she got like a private dinner and stuff. Somebody can correct me. I think it was like a $15,000 or a $40,000 flight in this private. Yeah, you get to close the door. It's private, and they flew to some other country. I don't even remember. And then, you know what they did? They were in an underwater condo hotel room, like Airbnb, under the ocean, and the glass was around them and stuff. And it was like $40,000 a night or something. It's ridiculous.
It's so stupid. I can find 40,000 better things to do with that money.
Stupid. You know what? I wanted to make sure that when I got married, it was about my husband and myself, and that's it. And there was a couple of friends who came with us. There was 6 of us total on the island. We had a blast. We stayed for 2 weeks. We partied our asses off, but it was honestly the best wedding I've ever been to. My own wedding.
You know what? In my opinion, in that one, when you have weddings like that, in my opinion, I feel that's when they're doing it for the right reasons. When it's not a big show. Honestly.
We came back. We had a big party for everyone else, but our wedding was for ourselves.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I like that.
It was balling. It was a blast. Are you kidding? It was so much fun. And I encourage people to think about things like one day. And just so you know, I did wear a dress. I did drag that shit right across the sand. It was a very expensive designer dress. I wore that shit right across the sand. And because I was like, well, if we're not spending it here, I'm going to spend it on the dress. Yeah. And it was fun. It was fun. And I love my husband. He is really cool, and he is a pain in my ass all at the same time, but I wouldn't change a thing. And
can I ask you if anybody in your life, and this is for everybody, but if anybody in your life, like, didn't approve of your relationship, they didn't get along with your husband or whatever, would you invite them to your wedding still? Would you even ask them? And would you be offended if they didn't come or didn't want to?
Hell no.
I know you obviously have a great, you're happy and stuff. So
I will tell you a story behind the scenes.
Okay.
Someone very important was not at my wedding. I asked them not to be there, not only not at my wedding, but not at my party either. So yes.
And there's no shame in that. Easier. That's your day, and you got to do what's best for you. And you don't want to have to worry about something happening because of other people.
Yeah.
Can I say something that people might get offended, but I have to say it?
Tell me.
People often say that, Cindy Watts didn't go to the wedding and blah, blah, blah. But in a way, she could have saved the whole situation if that would have stopped it, because he'd be like, oh, my mom doesn't approve, I'm not getting married. And then we probably would have them.
We would have had a different outcome. Here. Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that weird?
But sorry, Tia. I kind of interrupted you.
Oh, no.
It's crazy that one little thing can change your whole life. Like just what you said. You know what I mean? If that wedding would have stopped because of that, this would have been a whole different outcome. And that's crazy. One invitation, one day, one wedding.
Well, that's how I actually live my life, though. I try to be cognizant of moments where I'm like, this could be a game changer. I don't know if I want to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's weird, and I'm not very good at being present in the moment a lot of the times. But when I am, hey Tammy, when I am present, I'm never sorry. That's what is happening. Because I'm always like, oh shit.
Well, what if Cindy saw it playing out bad and ending bad? She's like, nope, I don't, we don't
Yeah.
know that.
But at the same
Um,
time, if you're a mama bear, some women are just never going to be good enough for your son. And some women are like that, where they're just like, nope, not having it. You know, I feel that way with my daughter. Like I said, I specifically use this case as, you call me crazy, call me whatever, but I use this case for my daughter because, she's 13 and she's starting to, be boy crazy and not thinking about, she's like, oh, I like this boy, he's really cute. And like
ugh.
this boy's 13 and he's sitting there doing bong rips on freaking videos. And I'm telling her, I'm like, listen, I'm like, this is not okay. I'm like, this is signs of someone who's going, to most likely be troubled, not just because he's smoking weed, but because of the other things. And I'm like, if this is the kind of person that you're attracted to, I said, that worries me because, you see them like idolizing people on TV and it does worry you. And tell me why my 13-year-old daughter finds the Joker attractive.
But you know what? That
Oh,
she needs to be, and I'm not saying telling you how to parent or anything like that.
oh
in
no,
case
any
you
advice
take
is
this
most likely
Tia.
appreciated.
But I always focus on with both my kids. I always focus on their self-esteem and raising themselves up. And does that person deserve you? Was always my question. Do they deserve you?
She's having a really hard time with a lot of that. Like I said, not to get too personal, but with everything that's going on right now with my ex and the domestic, and my kids have seen and been through a lot.
And that is super hard as a kid to see that.
It has affected them, deeply. And unfortunately, her dad is a drug addict and just got out of prison after 2 years.
I'm sorry.
And I feel like she is trying to seek that same type of man. And he's not a bad dude. He just makes really bad choices. He has a good heart, but she's seeking out that kind of man. And I try to tell her, like, without bashing him, like, you need to listen. This is not the type of person that you need. It causes nothing but pain and stress and tears and anxiety disorders. And she's already struggling with anxiety disorders. A couple years ago, I got a call from the school that she tried cutting herself. And that was with the friends that she was hanging out with. So I always try to tell her, like, I haven't been the perfect parent. I yell at them. I've said things to them that I shouldn't have said and, stuff like that. And then, as a parent, I always, 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 always apologize. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to tell her, like, when this case first came out, I'm like, listen, like, you need to listen to this. You need to see that, it doesn't, you never, never trust. You never trust unless you have a reason to trust. You can be lying down in bed with somebody for 8 years, not know who you're lying next to. So when you're making these choices of people who you want to be with, you need to have your eyes open. You cannot be blinded by, if they're attractive, because there are narcissists out there who will tell you what you want to hear. And that's what happened with me and my most recent ex. The one who told me, he showed me this case. Okay. And then a couple days ago, he told me he was going to throw me in a fucking oil tank. As long as I was dead, he would be happy. And I told her when I first met him, he was the best man I've ever known until shit didn't go his way. And if you're in a situation like that, it ain't always easy to get out. You need to have your eyes wide open. And then she had come to me and told me that, well, she might be gay. And I was like, you know what? Awesome. Same rule applies. Same rule applies to men, women, gay, straight, whatever. Have your eyes open, because it's scary when you have kids and you don't know who they're,
She needs to know
associating,
her
dating with.
self-worth.
She does, and she's not getting there. She's not. It's because she's in, the preteens, and they're struggling to find who they are, and she's having like a really hard time. It's scary.
Yeah,
She needs to know her self-worth, and she needs to be taught that she is worth so much more. And you too. I say this to you. You need to know that you are worth so much more than someone who treats you and says terrible things like that to you.
Oh, I'm ruined. Oh, I'm ruined. Like this guy completely ruined me. Who I am. I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't know.
You're my NK.
And that's where you're wrong. You will stand back up, and you will be stronger for this.
Yeah, I literally had to call
deep, girl, and you do have people. You have communities like Robbie's community that people will support you and love you.
This is what I live for, honestly, and that's why I get mad at Robbie all the time, because I'm like, you're not on enough. You're not on enough. So I bug him in Messenger all the time, and then but like today was the day. Like, I do not talk to my mother about it. I do not talk to my sister about it. I do not talk to anybody about it. Today I had enough. The school had called me today and told me, he was calling, making crazy stuff to the point where they were worried about my kids' safety. And the school paid for me to call a cab to go pick up my children early so that, nothing would happen. So I came home and I was like, enough is enough. I called the police twice. I got their advice. That's the first time I did that. And then I called the Children's Aid Society on myself.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't know what to do.
Wow.
I need help. I need this. I need that. I need this. So now, I have that in my life. And I'm not worried about that, because as a mother, I have nothing to hide. But at the same time, I'm stuck. And I don't want my kids in that same kind of situation. So time for me to, put myself out there. But it's bad. Like, it's really, really bad. And that's what scares me for, my kids and everybody else's kids. Like, I'm not the person who's like, I'm just going to look out for my kids. When I'm out at a park with my kids, when I'm out anywhere, I have my eyes on everybody's children and everything that's going on around them.
Well, see,
it's scary.
And see, that's why I always love hearing stories about parenting and stuff. And then again, when we apply that, like you're a mama bear, you want your kid to do good. So then if something bad happened to them or they did something bad, that's when it's like, I don't know how that would feel, and it's shocking. And so that's
you don't want to know how it feels. And I literally today, I was in tears all day. Like, I had talked to the lady at Children's Aid for a good 2 hours. And, my son's in the background, like, oh, if I see him, I'm going to beat his ass. My son's 17. He's 250 pounds and 6 foot tall. He wants to knock this fucking guy out. Like, and I told him, I'm like, you know what? I said, why do you want to do that? For me or for what he's done to you guys? And he's like, well, for you. And I'm like, well, just think about that situation right there, because it's not going to help me. And the lady in the back, she's like, you have to tell him, not to do that, because I'm lucky enough to start a new job tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I've been looking for a long time. And I actually left my other job because of this guy. He was calling my work and harassing me and showing up at my work. And it was bad. So I left that job, and I finally was lucky enough to find a new one.
Well, we got your back if anything happens. Try anything.
But now my son has to pick my daughter up at the bus stop alone. So I'm extremely nervous. Today's been like a really bad day, and it's hard. That I begged my kids, like, please don't have kids until for 100%. It is the scariest roller coaster you will ever be on in your life.
Well, people ask me, and hey, Tammy, by the way, people ask me, like, are you ever having kids? I'm like, I'm going to be 40 this year, and I'm still trying to get my shit together. I'm not. And once I get my shit together, I'm keeping it that way. No one's going to fuck it up.
Yeah.
I'm not meant for
That's
kids
exactly
or
what I say.
relationships.
Exact word for word, Robbie. That's exactly what I say.
But you know what?
my-
Robbie's like the crazy uncle that everyone loves too.
my
So
nieces, yeah, they do love me. Like I've always been
See?
that crazy, you know. And my niece
Well-
even said, "You're gonna die alone." But I want to die alone. Like,
Everybody dies alone. I'm sorry to tell you, but you know,
well,
whether you
and
have somebody by your side or not. I mean, you're born alone, you die alone. And unfortunately, I've been fucked up enough by all my exes to really believe really bad negative. Because Robbie, when you're like, "Oh, you got to be positive," I'm like, I'm probably the most negative person you'll ever meet in your life. I don't think anything positive. I'm a definitely expect the worst so you're not disappointed kind of person. It has made me extremely anxious, extremely depressed. It's no way to live. It's not.
Well,
But when
let
you
me-
have an ex who drills that into your head,
Yeah.
it's very rare you break free from that.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, especially if it's over a period of time as well, you know, and especially if you, I'm not trying to make it about me here, but when you grow up not feeling as though you're good enough for anything, and then you meet a guy in the beginning is all like he tells you that you're good and you know you're perfect, you're special, and all that sort of stuff, and then as time progresses, you realize no, because he starts drumming into your head that you know it only takes one person to say that's stupid, Tammy, or don't be stupid, don't be dumb, or you know that's pathetic, or you know something like that, and it brings it all back.
Oh,
You
I
can have-
really quick,
tons
I
of
just want to
triggers.
interrupt. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I just want to say to Ashley that first of all, I think you're brave as hell for coming up and talking tonight.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've spoken to you. I've seen you in chat, but it's the first time I've actually spoken to you, and it's been a pleasure. I really do like you, and I hope that you see how many people here are supporting you. And I hope that tomorrow morning when you wake up for your new job, which is so exciting and so cool, that you like yourself half as much as we like you in here.
Aw.
I
I
So
really
true.
do. I
you
really
can't
do.
make me cry.
Can too. Why?
Cry,
You're
cry,
cut,
cry.
Ashley, are you cutting onions, Ashley?
No, I
You're
just
supposed to say yes, because then if she makes you cry, you go, no, I'm cutting onions.
I've been crying all day. If I had more tears, I would be amazed. I really appreciate that. But
Yes.
anybody
very
who's
sweet
been
to
in
you.
this kind of situation, it's, you know, like I was telling the lady I was talking to today, because I was telling her stuff and she's like, you know, she's like, this is, you know, textbook domestic abuse. She's like, it's not just physical. She flat out told me, she said, he ruined who you are. Now it's time to maybe not find out who you used to be, but find out who you're going to become after this.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
It's a
So-
great way to look at it.
Can I be a total cow and quickly just change the subject just for a second?
Of course.
Sure.
Thank you. Tia, it's so cool to be on panel. I haven't been on panel with you for over a year.
Oh, Tammy.
No, I'm not going to mention the channel, but it's when I was making you laugh when I was saying stuff in that particular chat. It was Boxing Day the year before last.
Cry. I was laughing so hard. That was amazing. That was amazing. That was a good time.
Yeah, I think that I upset a few people in chat because there was, I think, no disrespect to you, LFT, if you're still in here, sweetie. I think she was trying to be serious, but you were laughing so much. It's like, oh, sorry.
That was, and we were talking about the Watts case. We were
Yes,
talking
we
about the
were.
Watts case.
Yes, we
We
were.
were
And I was
talking about
basically,
our friend Jane.
I
Jane
remember
the
those early
Pain.
days.
Oh, tell me about it. It was awesome. I loved it because I love making people laugh. But Ashley, you are courageous for doing what you're doing because there are a lot of people that don't do what you're doing. Sorry, Tia. Doing what you're doing and they suffer in silence. And the fact that you have that voice that, for me, I find very soothing, that you're able to say what you're feeling, some people can't.
It's taken me 4 years. It takes a lot because it's not an easy thing to talk about because, you know, especially if you're not doing anything about it. I mean, I have literal threats on mine and my kids' lives. And I've sat there and I'm just like, you know, it's all talk, but it's not. It's fucking serious.
Well, there's no time limit on how long you take to talk about something that has affected you. You can take, as much as it sounds like really horrible to bring this up, look at the people that accuse celebrities of certain things, but the fact that they take 10, 15 years, you've taken 4, and in those 4 years, you know, you haven't given up. You still show and share the most, from what I heard, the most amazing connection with your kids, and you want the best for them because you don't want to see them go through that. My
No,
mum was nothing like that.
I won't let them. No, and mine wasn't either. You know, my mom, not intentionally, but you know, like I've unfortunately grew up with abuse my whole life, you know, through my dad,
Yep,
never my mom, but my mom was, you know, not clueless, but you know, so, but I've never been really educated on, you know, the sneaky abuse that they have on you mentally and how they literally change who you are as a person without you even realizing it.
Oh my
They
God,
take
yes.
little bits of you, like guys who are vindictive and not being, and females that are vindictive, people that are vindictive. I saw once on Grey's Anatomy, she was saying about how he took little pieces of me over time, so I didn't even notice. You know what I mean? Because if they
You
were to go
don't notice until it's too late, and that's why, you know, the first time that I had ever spoke about this was on Natasha's channel. And that's, you know, that's what really got me talking about it, because, you know, even though I went my separate ways from her, she gave me advice and actually helped me want to talk about it more, because there are people who are suffering in silence like I was. And the simple fact of the matter is doing that, it took away who I used to be. Like, I don't remember happiness. And when I say that, I truly mean that. And that's through having my kids, and that's through everything. Because unfortunately, I have a daughter with this guy who he hasn't seen in now 8 months. And that's why he's losing his shit. And that's why the threats are coming in. And that's why everything's happening. But me realizing
you've got the
that
law on your
suffering,
side, don't you?
I won't.
No, as in like to protect her from him. Do you have the law on your side, or is this a
I have
personal
everything
choice?
on my side. Yeah, that's why
Beautiful.
I had decided to call the you guys call it CPS. We call it Children's Aid here. But that's why I decided to call, because, you know, the fact that my kid's school has called me and, you know, they were concerned about my daughter getting on and off the bus. I was, you know, enough is enough. So I did call the police a few times today for advice on what to do, but unfortunately the only thing to do now is court, and that's still not guaranteed, because they will hand her over to him. They will. I mean, CPS, Children's Aid had told me that today. Like, regardless, he will get, you know, access, and that's what scares me, because I don't know his mental state, because of what he's saying to me could just be his anger towards me, and I don't know if that has, you know, if that's going to bleed onto my daughter. And I'm not going to let that happen. So I will pack my bags and move out wherever I need to, if I have to, because no, I would lay down and die for my kids. Nobody's going to hurt them ever. So it's just, you know, like,
put
even
yourself in
going
that
back
category too, because you shouldn't be treated that way either. No one should be treating you that way. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, treat yourself like you're one of the kids. Look at yourself in the mirror like you're one of your kids, and be kind to yourself that way too. You know,
I'll tell you something right now. I cover the mirrors in my house. I don't look in the mirror.
You're so pretty. She goes on camera all the time. She's hot. She's my
Is
NK.
she hot? And you
She
are
looks like
covering-
well, she looks like NK, and she hates when I tell her that, but she does, and she's so pretty. So she made a wedding picture of me and her, kind of like Chris and NK, and used it as her avatar. Where is that picture?
I don't know. I don't know what
use it as your avatar.
It is on there. I don't know where it went.
See, I've like swore off relationships, and by the way, Living Like Phoenix is back, and I have to go soon because her birthday party is starting on her channel soon, so I got to get some stuff done. But I wanted to say, speaking of dysfunction and relationships, so you guys remember when I did the dating show last Valentine's Day? Well, probably sometime after Valentine's Day this year, people have been bugging me to do a dating show for myself. So Brutally Lauren and Seth are going to host, and I've already got 3 guys that agreed to do it, 3 gay guys. 2 of them are local, and they always hit me up for, you know, stuff. So they've agreed, and then 1 guy's in Florida. he's going to come on and we're going to have a dating show. But I said it's for entertainment purposes.
Robbie, get my brother to do it too, because then you can have one from Australia.
Well, see, the purpose was like originally I didn't even ask the guy in Florida because I wanted local, like actual guys. But they are already asked me to go to coffee anyways. One of them is like kind of like pushy too. So I'm like, maybe I shouldn't even have him on. So it'll be interesting and dysfunctional. There's the picture.
Oh.
See, Tia, that's me and Ashley.
I hope this isn't judgmental, Robbie, but you look really like, even though it's just, I know it's photoshopped and stuff, but you just look weird. I'm used to you in like a, your flannel shirt and your t-shirts. It's like seeing you in a suit. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I don't dress up.
It doesn't even look photoshopped. When you see it big, it looks perfect.
Can I? Oh,
I
let's
look
see if we can do the
Photoshop.
solo view real fast. How do I do solo layout? There we go. Wait, solo layout.
Oh, no, it doesn't. It looks.
You guys
cool.
are hot.
Remember that old TV show, The Odd Couple, the gay in the straight?
We could.
Oh,
I'm definitely his long distance wife, and when he gives other women attention, I secretly cringe.
I know. I said something in chat. I was like, "Oh, I want Robbie to be my husband," and you got mad. And I was like, "Oh shit, okay." I was like, oh.
Excuse me, he's taken.
See, my
Well,
NK is
Ashley,
always going to be a part of it. If anything
I am
happens,
so
look
sorry.
at NK.
Then Ashley, then I apologize from the bottom of my heart to say that I've said to Robbie, if he ever comes to where I am located in Australia, I'll introduce him to a few people. I am so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. We
It's
have an
so
open
funny.
relationship. As long as he loves me most, we're okay.
Oh,
See,
and
I
he
love
doesn't
that.
try and,
Flirt. I joke and
you're a
flirt with like
sweetheart, Robbie. I
straight
adore
men.
you, Robbie. You're a good guy.
Aw, you're
You
sweet.
flirt with straight men. I love when gay men
As a
flirt
joke.
with straight men.
As a joke, like I would never do it seriously. And I actually really like if I really like somebody, I'm too shy and nervous and I start stuttering to even flirt. And I don't even like, now that I'm almost 40, like I know I don't want to date. So like when I see hot guys, I'll be like, ooh, he's hot, and I'll be a joke about it and stuff. But really, in all like actuality, I'm too lazy and I'm just kidding. Because I'm like, it takes a lot of energy to keep somebody else happy, and I'm happy by myself, and I'm very emotionally independent when it comes to like not needing somebody else like that. So that's got in the way of a lot of my relationships because I like spending a lot of time hanging out with myself and doing things that interest me that are very simple. And that's always gotten in the way between me and guys. They're like, you always want to like sit in silence or meditate, or like you just laugh by yourself all the time. I'm like, because
that's okay.
Bingo.
Oh,
I really
Robbie,
do.
have you managed to watch all of And Just Like That yet?
Yes, I watched the series finale. Tia, are you a Sex and the City fan,
Oh.
Ashley?
Yes.
I'm not.
Have
no.
you been watching the new season?
Yes.
So good.
That reminds me,
sorry.
Robbie, we were supposed to watch that movie. What happened? You said it was too scary.
Oh, wait. Yeah, which one were we going to watch together?
I think it was called Us. Or no, it was with, oh shit, what was that? It was like the family was in the house and there was like creepy people standing outside on their property.
Us. I watched
was
Ma.
it?
Yeah, like I don't ever watch movies, but being in bed for like 11 days, I watched Ma, which was a good one. I watched the movie It, the 2017, that was pretty good. And I watched that depressing movie, The Fallout. That was good
How
too.
was that?
Really good, Tia. But the end, it kind of ends like, some movies you're like, that's not, wait, it's really over? Nothing happened. Like the end is just kind of like, it just seems like a normal scene leading up to something and then it ends. You're like,
unsatisfying. What? I don't like that.
Yeah.
Okay. But quick question though, what was with that oversized doona cover she was wearing when she scattered Big's ashes?
I loved that dress.
That dress was disgusting and almost looked like it was going to fall off her. And I was just like, I was hoping, I'm sorry, I'm not a Sarah Jessica Parker fan. I was hoping that when she was scattering the ashes, that the weight of the ashes would just make her fall over the bridge.
Her character is my least on that show. Carrie, we won't even get into all that, but like she's just she
we'll
always
talk
makes
about
the
that in PM,
shittiest,
but
stupid decisions, and she gets so emotional about the dumbest stuff. And I'm pissed off where she put those ashes. I'm like, you're stupid. Like you're dumb.
like he had family still in New York, you horrible woman.
I
What's
would
her?
never get rid. Sandra's ashes are right up there. My hamster. They're not
Yeah,
going
I would have
anywhere.
kept them. Yeah. Well, do you think there's going to be a
Just-
season 2, and then I'll step down and talk to you through
I
PM
hope
when
so, and I really hope Samantha, because the new characters they're great, but there's like we need Samantha.
No, they're
Come on.
not. They're horrible. I like Shay.
No, I don't like Shay. I don't, and I don't like that
No.
relationship with Miranda. I like is it the Middle Eastern lady, Seema? I love her.
Yeah. Oh, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
I just think that, and I have started to talk about this. I will say this one last thing. I'll try and make it the last thing. When she confronted Kerry about how Kerry made her feel,
Yes.
I was just like, yes, about time someone put that mole. Oh, so she had the mole removed. That
Carrie's
horrible
just
looking
stupid.
thing back in her place. But yeah, thank you for that video you sent me, by the way, Robbie. That was like
Big Dick.
really,
yeah. Big Dick
I
song?
didn't want to mention the name, but yeah,
See, I'll
thank
send
you.
it to you. It's funny.
It is. It's like, whoa. I don't know why. Out of everything that's been happening in the last few days, this is really, really weird. I'm hoping it's not spam. But no, it's all good. But no, I'm going to step down. But I just wanted to pop up and say, Ashley, you are so effing brave, love. Keep fighting the fight, because I know that you'll come out the other side and you won't even be able to look back, because it'll be a distant memory, hon.
I hope so.
And try your hardest to stay strong.
Always.
And cool. And Tia, it was awesome to be on panel very, very briefly with you. But thank you for just always remembering me. And Robbie, you're a sweetheart, and I love you to bits. It's a friendship love, so don't worry, wife. But I'm glad you're on the mend. And I'm sorry if I kept on bothering you with messaging you and asking how you were constantly. It's just that, I can't be there to see if you're okay. So, because Andy goes, how's Robbie today? I'm like, I don't know. Message him. I already have. He's resting. Leave him alone. Send him my love. No. Yeah, I know you did, sweetheart. But I'm glad you're on the mend, and I'm glad that you're back doing what you love as well as all the other stuff. But thank you for letting me pop up here briefly. You're all awesome.
Thank you.
And I love you all.
Love you
worries.
too.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Yes, Aaron. And just like that, really good. It's only 10 episodes and then they just finished, but they'll be back. What the hell? Just me and you again, Tia.
I know. I was just going to say, I have to hop down because you have to be somewhere. You have a party.
Yeah, well, I need to go eat and then be ready by 10 to do it. I was going to clean Carol too, but yes, thank you for the amazing conversation. I'm glad everybody was respectful and it was exactly what I aimed to do, is just have an open conversation that it's okay to have different opinions.
Thank you for letting me come up. I really appreciate it. And your chat is hands down. I mean, thank you for moderating. You certainly don't have to mod me in here. I come in here because I truly enjoy your chat. I love you. I love you.
You're not in our mod chat on Facebook, are you? I think I added almost all the moderators, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. But
no, it's either way. It's fine. Your chat is, everyone in here is so sweet, so cool, and so respectful. It's literally my favorite chat.
It is fun.
And I will tell you a little known fact that you were my first membership that I ever got on YouTube.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you for that.
It was a long time ago, but I did. I was like, oh, I love him. I'm gonna become a member.
You've always been awesome and sweet and just great. And I love meeting people like you on here. That's why I like coming on here.
You're sweet. You guys have a great night. Thank you for letting me blabber on up here with you. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you. We'll talk soon. I'll add you to the mod chat too.
Cool.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. You guys make sure you check out her channel, the Decipher podcast. Hold on. Let me put it on here. And I pinned Amber's birthday celebration panel. It starts in about 50 minutes. So I pinned that in the chat. So hold on. Let me pull up Tia's channel so you guys can follow her. And of course, Tammy Wells, her channel too. Tia's channel. And then let's see. I was going to do one more thing if it's still on. It is not. I was going to say go say hi to Jackson before. But if you guys want, yes, thank you for everybody. Yeah. And Emu, you were incredibly respectful and silent, but sometimes silence is respect. Yeah, it was a great chat. Thank you, Gray Life. Thank you for just being open-minded. And remember, everybody they're convinced of different things for a reason, and it's okay to have different opinions. This has been the best live. Thank you, Augustina. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody for being sweet. And Ashley, thank you for coming up. I saw you drop down again, but it's okay because we're going to end here. And if you guys want, again, for Amber's birthday, it'll be in about 50 minutes, 49 minutes on Living Like Phoenix. She changed her name to Living Like Phoenix. It is her birthday, and we're just having a birthday celebration for her. So it's going to take a while, but put Carol's party hat on. I know I need to go get Carol ready for the party. She's got tassels that are going to go on her nipples. It's going to be fun. It's going to be so fun. Yes, thank you, Tia. That was fantastic. And I love you guys. And I will talk to you later. Bye. No chance.